Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another Tuesday with Terry. My name is Terry, and I'm excited that you joined me today because I think we've got a good one right in front of us. I'm talking to you live from Austin, Texas, where the sun is hot, the barbecue is sweet, and all the drinks are free if you hang out with me. If you're going to try to grow your business, if you're a sole proprietor or you've got 1 or 2 or 3 locations, you're probably having a lot of great success because you're actively involved in those locations. And I found that to be true for myself. When I first started Orangetheory Fitness and I was in 2 stores or 3 stores, man, I could get in those stores. I could be visible to the staff. I could be visible to our members. I had an active role. I was teaching. I was coaching. I was training. I was signing people up, closing sales, getting leads, the whole program, right? And I'm a pretty energetic guy. I'm a pretty charismatic guy. And so things were really working. But I got to tell you something, when I went from 3 to 5, some things changed. And when I went from 5 to 8, some things changed. And when I went from 8 to 20, things changed. And when I went from 20 to 40, things changed. And when I went from 40 to 63, things changed. And what I realized is I couldn't get around and have the impact in a lot of stores, or I couldn't scale me. And so I had to figure out a way to duplicate myself. And you've heard me talk a little bit about perfect the process, right? Where I talk about it's not about you, it's really about the process, right? I've talked about that before in one of my other podcasts. But what I really want to share today is I want to talk to you about how to scale your sales business or how to scale a sales process. And it really comes down to you codifying or documenting the steps in the process. And so you have to ask yourself, what's the first thing that I needed to do? What's the second thing I needed to do? What's the third thing, the fourth thing, the fifth thing? Until you come from A gets you to B, B gets you to C, to D, E, and F, whatever those steps are for you. But I think I have pretty much, I've been doing sales for a long time. I think I understand it relatively well. And so I'd like to share with you, if I may, I think an 8-step process that you should consider to document, and then you can teach that to your understudy, or you can mentor that process to someone, and they can do what you do. And then you go to the next guy and you teach that guy and that lady, and then the next one and the next one and the next one, until now you've duplicated yourself. You can't be at all 50 or 60 or 100 locations, but you've got other people doing what you would do, saying what you would say, going through that process. Now, if you don't do that, everybody's going to do their own thing. And don't you know this, is students are always smarter than the teacher. They always come up with their own ways. And we call that compliance, right? We want people to be compliant. But if you're going to get big, it's got to be more than just you. You got to figure out a way to duplicate yourself. And part of that is creating a process. You've got to teach, mentor other people that process. Now, you've heard me talk about the sales funnel. Sales funnel is when you get a lead and you convert that lead, and how do you follow up with that lead? Through calls or emails or text messages. How do you take that contact and turn that into an appointment? And then how do you make sure that that person shows up for that appointment? At Orangetheory, we call that an intro. And then from the intro, how do you close or create a transactional opportunity for that person to make a buying decision? And then if that person either says yes, they make the transaction. What does that look like? And if they say no, then you've got to create what we call these follow-up points. How, in fact, are you going to follow up? And it's not just saying, hey, you need to follow up, because most follow-ups are poor to terrible. They're poor to terrible, they're impersonal, and you've got to do a better job at creating and being creative at better ways to follow up. But that being said, that list that I just gave you was a sales funnel. That's not the process. That is a funnel. That's the funnel that a prospect, a name or a contact would go through to either become a customer or to not become a customer, and you have to follow up with them. But once you get into I'll call it a sales call or a sales appointment, or you get belly to belly, nose to nose, and toes to toes, as I say, with people, what does that look like? What is that from the moment of introduction, hi, my name's Terry and you are, to the moment that person walks out of the office building, from the moment they walk out of the gym, from the moment they walk out of the coffee shop? What does that look like? So here they are. Number one, the first thing is you gotta build rapport, right? You gotta make friends. If nothing else happens, you don't make a sale, you don't convert an appointment, none of that goes on. By all means, make a friend. And when I was growing up, my dad always said, if you want to make friends, you got to be friendly. So you put the hand of friendship out there, you tell them a little bit about yourself, you make some small talk that's kind of non-personal. Could be about the weather, could be about directions, could be about life in general, could be about the sports, March Madness coming up, who's your favorite team, where they go to school, just simple things. Just make some conversation. If you can make it humorous, that's even better. Because when people smile, they laugh, means they like you. People buy from people they like. People don't buy from people they don't like. So you got to get them to like you. Be friendly. Be nice. Be courteous. Right? Number one, build rapport. Number two, you've got to educate them and tell them what the purpose of the meeting is. Why are we here today? We're here today to discover a little bit more about your business and where some of your pain points are, and maybe what some of the problems, and maybe if there's a way for our company or our business to help you solve some of those problems. But you're going to have some kind of a one or a two line about the purpose of the meeting. And the purpose of the meeting is not just you doing all the talking. That's called the monologue. These sales calls or these sales meetings should be a dialogue. It should be, what is it you'd like to get out of today? What are some of the things that you want to learn more about what we offer? Or what are some of the things that you're struggling with? I'd love to hear more about it from you. Let that guy do a lot of talking. Let the woman do a lot of the talking. Number three, we've got to go through what's called discovery. Now, those are preset questions that you want to document that in your business you have had success. If I ask these 5 questions or these 4, there's got to be 4 or 5 that they've got to hit. You might have 10 questions, but these are 4 key questions. And then for the fitness business, for me, I use these same 4 or 5 all the time on a scale of 1 to 10. How do you rate your current fitness level, Wes? Number 2, when were you in the best shape of your life? Number 3, what were you doing then that you're not doing now? Number 4, if nothing changes, are things going to get better or worse? And number 5, are you open and willing to make some changes in order to get the desired results you want? And all that does is set the table. Now, those are for me. I'm not saying those are right for you, but you have to go through what's called discovery. I just given you high level here. You've got to come up with some key questions that you have used that have proven to be successful. You've got to write those down, and you got to make sure your staff knows them and uses them. Number 4 is you're going to have to mirror or identify their pain points. Right? So once you do discovery, you've got to find out what's not working. Right? So you've asked a lot of questions, but if you could kind of hone in on it or narrow in or zoom in on it, what's the problem that you're experiencing? Is it time? Is it turnover? Is it nobody's buying because of the price? They're all telling you the price. Is it the account? What is it that's the problem? You don't have enough leads in your business? You know, people don't know enough about you. You're not well known enough. Something's wrong in what's going on in your business. How can I help with that? But you've got to find out where they're experiencing pain in that business. And then what you want to be able to do is ask them the emotional question, the pain point. We call it, how do you feel about that? Well, they hate it. That's why I'm here. That's why we're talking today. Fantastic. All you're doing is laying the foundation and the table for them to be open and willing to listen to some solutions. And that's number 5 is now you have to share and tell your story. The business story, how your business can solve problems, how your business can solve their pain, how your business can help save them time or money or get more customers, right? You got to be able to do that. Number 6 is you then, after you tell those particular ways you have solutions for them, you have to transition over into some kind of an offer. And so what is the offer? And I said this to some folks earlier today. I was meeting with them and I said, every time you go into a meeting, you should be thinking about your offer. What is the action that you want the guy or woman on the other side of the table to take at the end of the meeting? And in order to lead them down that path, you must have an offer. Something for free, something easy to get started with, something that maybe has a money-back guarantee. You've got to have some kind of an offer. Is it time? Is it money? Is it discounting? Is it time-oriented? I'm just saying, figure out what your offers are and have a couple of those. And then the next one is make sure, number 7 is you've got to ask for the sale. What is it, 73, I think, 77% of the time people don't make a sale is because they never really even ask for it. So do you have scripts written down for your team or for people in those places, in your studios, in your businesses, in your stores, that there's 6, 8, 10 different ways to ask for the sale? And number 8, the last piece, you've got to make sure if that person says yes, you're rolling, you're transacting, right? Money is changing hands. People are signing agreements. People are authorizing, right? Number 8 is if they say no, you need to be clear about what the next steps are going to be. I'm going to follow up. And when am I going to follow up? In 24, 48, 72 hours? I'm going to follow up next week. I'm going to send something and then follow. You've got to be clear. Your team has to be clear about how they're going to follow up and make sure they have communicated that well. And so 2 sides of the process. One is what I call the software, and the other is the hardware. So what is the software? The software are those 8 things I just told you about. The software is building rapport. It's people skills, right? Building rapport. It's purpose of the meeting. It's discovery. It's identifying what their pain is, showing how your product or service can help them solve that, transitioning into an offer, asking for the sale, and being clear about the follow-up. Those are all soft skills. And those soft skills are developed and designed through role plays and training, and they're designed and they get better with practice. And remember the rule of practice? I do it and I show you how to do it. Then we do it together, and then you do it and you show me that you can do it. You demonstrate back to me that you can do it. That's critical. I can't tell you how powerful that I do it, we do it, you do it concept of training and teaching is. The hardware is the tracking, it's the CRM, it's the manuals, it's the books, it's the sales tools, it's the price sheets. Those are all hard, physical, tangible items that people have in their toolbox in order to make the sales process work. And so that being said, if you're really going to scale and you're going to grow to be much bigger, you're going to have to find a way to articulate, codify, document that 8-step sales process. Now, for your business, you might say, well, Terry, there's a couple things I don't use, or there's a couple that I need to put in there that are extra. That's fine. But what I'm giving you is the architecture, the framework about how to duplicate your sales processes so that you can scale your business to get bigger. Hope that was helpful. My name's Terry. Let's get big, think big, get big, do it in a big way. What you're working, when I see you sometime, I'm going to ask you what you're working on big, okay? And tune in next Tuesday for your next Tuesday with Terry. Thanks for listening.